It's been a while. How was everything? This is In My Circle, and I'm Ralph, also known as DJ Noise. And yeah, you read the title. We have a new Pope. And the last time I was on air, I was talking about, I may have mentioned um, about the Pope, the late Pope's passing or failed health. And 2 weeks, almost 2, 3 weeks later, we went through the conclave, the conclave, right? And the first time the black smoke came out, and then the second time the white smoke came out. I happened to be looking at my phone at that moment, and just by chance, I seen, hey, we have white smoke, and I said, "Whoa, let me look at the official live," and yeah, that was, when they announced him to the world, it was so emotionally profound because you can see in his face, his eyes, he was choking up. It's the pinnacle of one's life. He no longer is, Cardinal Robert Provost. He is now Leo the 14th, the Pope. And I wanted to talk about this because it's a cool little story about him. Media has been I guess, interviewing the brothers for a good week now. I think maybe a week. I might be wrong. Close to a week. Yeah, close to a week. We'll say close to a week. And some of the stories is, when he was a kid, he would talk. He would talk. It was talk. When some of the kids would play concert robbers, girls would play with dolls. He wanted to play church. And at 6 years old, we're talking about 6 years old, he already knew his prayers, Latin, in Spanish. And during that time, it was predicted by, neighborhood mothers that said, "You're going to be the first American Pope." And it was kind of cool, seeing him live. I was working and quickly glanced at the screen when he came out, and you could see in his eyes, it was just profound moment in history. It's the beginning of a new era in the timeline on Earth. It's significant that a new pope is elected. One pope passes, a new era starts. And 100 years from now, that moment will be documented. And it's pretty cool that we get to witness history as it unfolds. And, it's... His brothers said, he is our brother, Robert. We know him as Robert. But to the world, he is Pope Leo the 14th. And, you would think that your life is going to be, we're never going to be that blessed to become a priest, Pope. First, it's a lot of time that you have to give to the church. As soon as the Pope, when he was Robert and he was fresh out of high school, he joined the seminary right from high school. His brothers knew he would be a priest. They just didn't know if he was going to be a pope. But I think it's like I said, it's a very, very profound moment in the history of time on Earth. You know, it will be documented 100 years from now. You know, I would like to think if we if this world sees another existence of another 100 years, it will be documented, well documented. And you know, the when he came out, the eruption of joy, you know, it was so proud to see that. It was like he was a rock star, and it was just it's great to see somebody at their highest pinnacle in life. They set to, you know, don't think he knew he would ever become Pope, but it's the pinnacle of his life, the highest point of his life. You know, one of the highest that he can serve God, you know, by being elected Pope, being one of the holiest figures in the world. And what's cool about this one Pope, right? You know, the last couple popes, I guess maybe were language barriers, right? Some of them were language barriers. Um, the late Francisco was South American. He was in Argentina. I think it was from Argentina, and he spoken Spanish. Some could not speak to him because of the language barrier. I mean, yes, we have these devices now that are walking translators, because I know this because one time I had to expel some solicitors, right? You know, people that randomly stick stuff in your mailbox. Well, I had to scare them off the complex, and they didn't understand what I was saying. And so I pulled out the phone and started talking to them in Mandarin, and they were like, "Oh, okay, yeah, we understand." As soon as I said cops, and as soon as I said you got to get off the property, they were like, "Yeah, we understand." So even with phones, certain people who were not in that kind of circle may not understand the language without phones. But what makes this one special, and I'm not saying the last three that I have been, I think, alive for, the past three, right? The last three, not saying anything wrong about them, God bless them, but I'm saying Pope Leo, what's so great about this one is that at 6 years old, he knew, they knew he was going to be, his brothers knew he was going to be, everybody in the neighborhood. He was always giving his older brothers advice, giving people advice, breaking up fights, just being a listener. That's what another thing, he's a great listener. And he's not afraid to get out there with the people. When he was in Peru, he would jump in the waters, in floods, helping the people. He is of the people. And, he just, I heard he went through town, I think, and, immediately shaking hands with people, talking to people, By the way, he is officially the first, I forgot to mention that, he is the first American Pope in history. And people say, is it a political move? Is it is it something, people say, people are saying, well, how can that happen? America is one of the most powerful countries in the world. How can you put an American Pope close to American power, right? Well, Pope Leo the 14th hasn't even lived in America. I think in over 20, 30 years, maybe. I'm not might not be exactly on that. But he spent most of his time in Peru and other countries, giving back, helping those in need, engaging with the people. And what's so also amazing about this one pope is I think he speaks 5 languages. I think he is versed in. I definitely know he's versed in German, Latin, and English, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he might speak 2 other languages, some knowledge of the others. But that's amazing if he can speak 5 languages. It's very amazing. His one of his first masses, he gave it in a perfect uh, Italian. No, it's perfect Spanish, and then Italian. And the next day, he gave a another mass in English. Um, it's very very cool to he can bridge, and that's what the word pontiff means. It means it means to build bridges. Pontiff means to build bridges. So he can be a bridge, that connects the German people language wise, the Spanish people language wise, the Italian people language wise, the Latin. He and of course the English. He speaks English. Most notably, he can connect to the United States. He can speak to them. That's amazing. That you want somebody that's going to stand for the church that can be able to engage in many people. And I think it's time that we've had somebody that you know a cool selection. I'm proud that we have a great pope, and I wish him all the well. I wish him the best. And I just wanted to really chat about that. I think it's just an amazing thing, an amazing point in our history of the world. Of the United States, of all the countries. Is the history in that timeline is just profound. It's just immensely cool that we can live it and see it unfold. Um, that's pretty much it. What I have tonight. Nothing crazy. Just wanted to point that out. And since Mother's Day was the other day, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. All the mothers that I engage. My wife, my mother, my grandmother, and all the mothers that I have missed. That I didn't mention. I hope you enjoyed your day. If you like my show, if you like what I talk about, please like, please comment, please subscribe. It helps the channel. As you see, I talk about different topics. Not afraid to talk about anything. I'm not afraid to bring in different interviews. Yeah. So, like, share, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you think. And again, my name is Ralph. This is In My Circle. I'm also known as DJ Noise. And we're out. Peace.